If you listen and enjoy our show, we're in the middle of a fundraising drive. So if you could go to thebillshow.net, go and press the patron button, you can sponsor us. And that would help pay for stuff. Click the patron button. You'll be glad you did. You'll get a nice warm feeling down in the bottom of the cockles of your heart. And now, on with the show.
You say, hell yeah.
We're going to hold on to him by the nose, and we're going to kick him in the ass. We're going to kick the hell out of him all the time, and we're going to go through him like crap through a goose.
From the expat home of the resistance, it's the Bill Show. And now, brothers and sisters in solidarity, here's Bill and Randy.
Hello, Randy.
Hello, Willie. How are you?
I'm fine, my friend. I'm fine.
Yeah, that's good. You are fine. You're very fine.
And it's
I'll tell you what. You know, I love that opening with Don McLean. He's just so good.
I was thinking, change the opening. I can't, man. I fucking love the boss. I don't care who knows it.
Yeah. Boss Skaggs.
Boss
or
Skaggs.
Boss,
You can torment me all you want.
Well, what about them Red Sox, eh?
Yeah, world champions. That's right. If the world was just the United States. Sorry about that.
Friendlies?
Huh?
And what about friendlies?
Oh, the friendlies. Are you just coughing up things we were talking about earlier?
Why not?
Friendlies.
While we're
Red
coughing,
Sox.
while we're coughing
Don
up.
McLean. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for tuning in. We are...
They're not tuning in. It's a podcast.
Well, it's a podcast.
You jerk.
But, you know, speaking about tuning in, I've got great news, Randy. Randy,
Yeah.
the good people at TuneIn Radio have shown...
What's that?
They're a bunch of tasteful people who control it.
Oh, it's a podcast like
you know, you can get podcasts there, you can get movies, you can get everything there. And ladies and gentlemen, we're now part of the TuneIn Radio stable of podcasts. Ladies and gentlemen.
Oh,
Come on, kids.
How much did that cost you?
Nothing. It's a cheer. This is a cheer for TuneIn Radio.
Oh, I like pulling your
I
chain.
sent them a note, and I said, you can listen to the show. We've been on for 5 years, and for some strange reason.
Has it been that long?
Yeah. Well, no, 2012. 2012.
The second
6
Obama
years
election.
now. Fuck. God damn, this is long. But
It's a long time.
ladies and gentlemen, it's been a good trip though, because we've had.
And it's getting fun. It's getting trippier too. With
It is.
What's that orange guy? What's that orange guy's name?
Oh my God! Listen, we've been doing a thing on Trump since the election. Before the election, you can go back there and see what we've said. And ladies and gentlemen, this is probably the first show where I'm saying 2 words. Ready? Here it is. Drum roll, please. All right. It's treason. They're gonna get him for treason.
All right, it is sort of 2 words, but one of them is a compound.
And by the way,
it should be. It is treason.
it is
but that's 3
treason.
words.
So
That's 3 words.
on that note, I'm going to go right into it, ladies and gentlemen, because
You're the teacher. You're the teacher, not me. So.
I am a teacher. But let's learn a little something about what happened this week and why it's treason, ladies and gentlemen. Here's our intro for Mr. Trump.
Oh my God, please help me knee deep in the river trying to get clean. He says, wash your hands, get out the stains, but you best believe, boy, there's hell to pay. Yeah, you best believe, boy, there's hell to pay. Say,
I'm going to bring the whole fucking diseased, corrupt temple down on your head. It's got to be biblical.
According to your reporting, everyone around the president, senior advisors, family members, every single one of them questions his intelligence and fitness for office.
Let me put a
a marker in the sand here. 100% of the people around him. The one description that everyone gave, everyone has in common. They all say he is like a child.
No matter what you do, you're gonna learn the truth.
Yes, Randy, it's another fantastic episode of Trump. And Trump. But, ladies and gentlemen, our long, because you and I have been doing this a while, haven't we, Randy? How long have we been?
Yeah, and we don't like him any better than we did then.
No, we don't, but it's been a while, and we've kind of been like Frodo and Sam. and we want to throw Donald.
And he's what is he, the Gollum?
Yeah, and Trump is the Gollum that we got to throw into Mount Doom, ladies and gentlemen. And the first signs, ladies and gentlemen, that actually this Gollum is going to be in trouble to the tune of treason, ladies and gentlemen. I'll say that again. A court document was filed by Mueller. And our crazy little Elliot Ness, Mr. Mueller. Court documents were filed about the sentence recommendations for both Mueller and Paul Manafort. What they found...
You mean Paul Manafort and the other guy?
Yeah, his fixer, his lawyer, Cohen, right?
Yeah.
So Cohen evidently has spilled the beans magnificently on Donald. And all those things since June, and I went back, Randy. You and I.
How far back?
June 2 years ago, 2.5 years ago.
Yeah, June 2016.
Yeah. And in June 2016, you and I did a show based around the revelations of David Corn in an article by Mother Jones about probable collusion or possible treason with Russia. That was June during the election.
2.5 years ago.
No one listened to us. No one listened to any of the left who had been talking about these things. The corporate media was too busy making money off of Donald Trump.
Sure.
But during this time...
And lock her up Hillary.
Yeah, lock her up Hillary. Yeah, that was deliciously ironic. Okay. A court document. This came out today in the... this was from Vox. A court document filed by Mueller states that Cohen, Trump's personal lawyer and fixer, lied to Congress at least 3 separate times about plans to build a Trump Tower in Moscow with Trump's name prominently featured on top. Cohen testified to Congress that negotiations to build Europe's tallest building stopped in January 2016, but emails and other communications obtained by multiple news outlets and now basically confirmed by Cohen show those negotiations actually continued much longer into June 2016. Do your math, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, he's already running.
That's when he's running. He's getting a payoff from his handler. After
Vlad the Impaler.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
After Trump had already become the Republican Party's nominee, which was amusing, I remember. Go back to that show. That's a fun fest. And BuzzFeed News reported on Thursday that Trump's company planned to give Vladimir Putin... Now, I know you guys know this, but this just is amazing. How obvious does it have to be? He planned
the top floor suite.
That's right. The $50 million penthouse goes to Uncle Vlad.
Yeah, the pee-pee room.
It's the pee-pee room. You're in town.
Yeah. When you're in town, stay the Trump.
Hey, Trumpy, you're in business with Putin? You're in business with Putin? Thank you. Terrible. That's a pun. That matters because it puts Trump's praise of Russia and Putin in a whole new light. That most animated his warmth may have been for personal profit. What's more, it's entirely possible that Trump knew a close confidant willingly lied to Congress earlier in the investigation. It looks like Mueller is intimately aware of those communications too, and he now has Cohen's full cooperation, and that could spell trouble. Oh, you think?
No, it
because
spells treason.
Because he has long said that he has...
Oh, you got treason.
Yeah.
Right here in River City.
Right here in River City.
Yeah.
Right here. And that he has it. This is it. This is just what's coming. This is the hors d'oeuvres. This is the hors d'oeuvres. And basically what Cohen's already saying is that Trump was compromised by Russia. Listen, I'm one of those people who think Trump was compromised by Russia in 1990. But that he was compromised by Russia, and they can prove it. Yet Trump seems unfazed because he's a coke addict.
Say hello to my little friend.
Report, he said.
Yeah, that's right.
And it's much more factual.
I'm going to do a report on all of you.
Yeah, I'm going to bring out a counter report. Yeah,
that'll be good. Anyway, listen, I probably can't. I cannot explain this as well as Rachel Maddow. So, ladies and gentlemen,
she could read a recipe to me, and
I love Rachel.
I would swoon. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, no, her journalism in this respect of following this all the way to the end has been exceptional. And she was talking about
the queen of fake news. Yeah.
The queen of fake news. I hate her. Look at her haircut.
Yeah, she's terrible. Yeah.
She
bleeds from her ears.
She more or less put this together. So let's have a listen to what Rachel had to say about these papers being filed, and ladies and gentlemen, listen to something I put at the end of it, just so you'll kind of get nostalgic for Donnie during
kiss goodbye
during the election. Here he is, right here.
All right, this is important too. What we're learning here from the special counsel's office is that Trump Tower Moscow wasn't some tiddlywinks deal. Trump Tower Moscow was going to result, if it succeeded, in hundreds of millions of dollars being paid from Russian sources to the Trump Organization. Michael Cohen downplayed the financial importance of the project, but the special counsel's office is saying here that they have evidence, and they go into it in more detail. They have evidence how remunerative this deal was going to be. Hundreds of millions of dollars from Russian sources to the Trump Organization. And this is what Trump was lying about during the campaign, saying he had no deals and no pending deals in Russia.
You know, Obama says that, well, Trump might be friendly with Putin, which I'm not. I don't know Putin. But they're coming up with this narrative like I'd be weak with Putin. Well, I never met Putin. I don't know who Putin is. He said one nice thing about me. He said I'm a genius. I said thank you very much to the newspaper.
And I said he's a better leader than Obama.
But he does get rid of it.
I said he's a better leader than Obama because Obama's not a leader. So he's certainly doing a better job than Obama is.
Putin said Trump is brilliant. And Trump, no, Putin. Now, I don't know Putin. We did do 60 Minutes together. Now, we weren't together, but he was on, I was on the same night. We got great ratings, by the way.
I would treat Vladimir Putin firmly, but there's nothing I can think of that I'd rather do than have Russia friendly as opposed to the way they are right now.
Russia, if you're listening, I hope you're able to find the 30,000 emails that are missing. I think you will probably be rewarded mightily by our press. Putin said some very good things about me. People say, oh, Trump's going to be weak with Putin because Putin is saying nice things about me. Okay, all right. And I said he's a strong guy. They immediately say, oh, Trump likes Putin. Look, I don't like or dislike. First of all, I have to say this. Wouldn't it be great if we actually got along with Russia? Am I wrong in saying that? Wouldn't it be great? Okay? You know?
Oh, that's good.
that word salad, whatever that was ridiculous.
That's what treason looks like.
That's what a total idiot sounds like.
Well, I never
all over the place.
I have never in my life heard the audible act of oral sex done so well as Donald Trump towards Vladimir Putin, because there's a reason. There's a reason.
He wants a hotel.
He wants a hotel because the hotel's the payoff. The hotel's the payoff. The whole campaign was a marketing exercise. You think Donald Trump thought he was going to win? Read Fire and Fury.
Yeah.
What the fuck are we gonna do now?
And he's turning on everybody.
Oh yeah.
What about Tillerson this week?
Oh, he's making fun of Tillerson.
Dumb as dirt. Or what did he say?
Here's the thing.
Dumb as a rock.
He's dumb as a rock. He's dumb as a rock, is he? Well, Donnie, I don't see Rex Tillerson in the shit show that you're in right now. Yeah. He got out of there toot sweet. That's because you're the dumb shit. And he's smart enough to know when I'm going to leave this fucking hootenanny. And he did. Okay? The only thing that you have around you now are people that you're going to throw in front of the bus. And believe me, Donald Trump's going to throw everybody in front of the bus. Donald Trump doesn't give a shit about his son.
He likes driving buses. Whenever they bring one to the White House, he gets in, and fire trucks, too.
Oh, look, it's a bus. Don Jr., get over here.
Yeah,
all right, start
I'm having fun. Yeah, lie down in front.
Get over here. Ivanka, get over here.
Yeah.
You know, it's really going to be like Speed 3, you know? It's going to be just thump, 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 thump. He's going to be tossing people under the bus, left, right, and center, ladies and gentlemen. So we should not underrate this, folks. This is treason. This is everything that we were talking about. And it's coming.
It's all coming true, yeah.
It's all coming true. And it's all coming true. And just in time, folks, because, hey, climate change is happening, by the way.
No fake news. There's no climate change.
There's no climate change.
I'm smarter than you, and I know
I'm smarter than you.
There's no science, yeah.
I know. I got a gut for science. Oh, man. You know, the thing is, Randy, when I read this article on climate change, and I thought to myself is that literally Kurt Vonnegut could not write the end of humanity as well as it's doing it right now. It is so.
But David Attenborough as well. You know, like we are going to be extinct as a species very shortly. You can't get any more specific than that. Yeah.
Yeah. If we don't look, folks, we got 20 years. And we need progressive leadership in the United States because the only country that's really going to be capable of leading that effort is the United States of America.
That's right.
If there's any chance in the world. You think the fucking Russians are going to do it? Fuck me.
No.
The Chinese? They're too busy making money.
The Russians, they always snows in Russia. It's, the global warming's, they don't believe in it.
So we got to get rid of this bozo, but it's quick. And the Democratic candidate that comes forth in 2020, the number one issue, along with healthcare, and by the way, healthcare is secondary, climate change.
Yeah.
Because we're all going to die, by the way, FYI, and
soon.
Well,
nobody gets out of here alive.
No. But I'd rather that my grandkids don't live in an apocalyptic hellscape. I'm kind of against it. Speaking of
in a deep cave.
In a deep cave.
Everything he does seems to go against common sense and humanity.
Listen, I'll give you an example of what Donald Trump has done. I got this out the other day, and I pucked it from. Let's see, where am I getting this from? I'm getting this from the Intellectualist, based on CNN. It's by a guy named Yossarian Johnson 3 days ago. Listen to this. Just listen to this. President Donald Trump picked Kathleen Harnett White for a top science job in the White House. President Donald Trump picked Miss White for a top science job in the White House. Harnett White believes that climate change, and I quote, is a global conspiracy connected to the practice of paganism.
Of course.
By liberal and secular elites and communist forces, according to CNN.
Without a doubt, without a doubt.
President Trump's nominee to the White House senior advisor for environmental policy.
Yeah.
Described the belief in global warming as a kind of paganism for secular elites. Trump last week nominated Kathleen Harnett White, who previously led the Texas Commission of Environmental Quality.
What about okay? Yeah. What about Ariella Skipworth?
Yeah.
This lady.
Yeah.
She helped reverse the rule against bee killing. Pesticides and genetically modified crops in national wildlife refuges, has just been made the executive head of the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service.
Yeah.
So she's going to be in charge of all the rivers and streams, and what goes into them. Now, and who's the new UN ambassador?
Yeah.
A TV host?
A TV host for Fox News.
Yeah.
Really? Yeah. Kurt Vonnegut couldn't write this shit. Seriously,
No.
it's hilarious. She also, I want to get back to Harnett White because she.
Yeah.
I do want to get this one, and this is a
It's
direct
witchcraft.
quote.
It's
This is
witchcraft.
It is.
It's witchcraft.
It's bewitched.
You know, can
Could
I
you
just
play the
say,
theme
just
for me,
quickly,
please?
Yeah,
Bewitched.
just quick-
Can I have a bewitched theme?
yeah, just
So
quickly,
here's Harnett White. Harnett White. She
Yeah.
also said, and this is a quote.
yeah.
Some of the leaders totally open, like the just stepping down of head of the United Nations Climate Change Program, Cristina Figueres from Costa Rica, openly says that communism is the best system and maybe our only last chance to use. And she uses China as a good example as the way we can avert global warming. So she more or less Harnett is saying global warming is a communist conspiracy, isn't it?
Of course it is. It's witchcraft, and it's witchcraft.
Oh, anyway.
Speaking of witchcraft,
Yes.
I'm sitting here while we record, looking at several hundred giant bats flying in front of my window. You know,
Wow.
the flying foxes heading for the fruit orchards and things. It's the most amazing thing you will ever see in your life. These things are huge.
Right.
Flying foxes are huge, and there's
Yeah.
over 100 of them just going past my window
Right now. It's a
yeah,
sign.
talk about spooky. Yeah,
It's a sign.
yeah. Well, they do it every night. I mean, I've seen them before.
Oh,
but
they do? Really?
Yeah.
Well, we'll all be wanting to visit Uncle Randy in Transylvania.
Those bats are nothing. These are
hey,
monster. Flying foxes are huge.
It's amazing.
They're
And-
like dogs. They're like small dogs with bat wings.
What?
You know, you've seen a flying fox. They're
Yeah,
huge.
but do you live in the Wizard of Oz or something? What is it? It's kinda...
No, those are flying monkeys, you jerk.
Yeah, I know. Okay. Well, speaking of the undead, Randy, I'm going to get back to this. Speaking of the undead, ladies and gentlemen, and I know that you're going to. There was a funeral, Randy. Did you see that?
A furore.
Oh, there was a big funeral for.
George H.W. Bush.
Oh, George H.W. Bush. And
George the First.
I
Just
gotta
say George the First.
George the First, King George the First, and I one of my bestest friends in the world, more conservative than I am. He texted out. Yeah, well, that leaves about everybody really. But he texted out this thing where he said, "Rest in peace." George W. Bush, and George H.W. Bush, and the thing is that in contrast to Donald Trump, but then I had to sit there and I watched Morning Joe and I watched the funeral, and listen, this is what I listened to, and I want to give you a sample of what I was listening to, and here it is. You want to listen with me, so you'll.
Yeah, I'm listening.
Imagining me sitting in my leather chair, just watching this shit. Here it is.
Overnight, a star-studded standing ovation at the Kennedy Center honor ceremony.
I think it's appropriate to recognize the passing of a wonderful man who dedicated his life to service and who graciously attended this event many times during his administration.
In his summer home in Kennebunkport, Maine, the 41st president's absence profoundly felt.
The former president and Mrs. Bush always had just a really remarkable presence in the community.
Mourners leaving socks among the flags and flowers, a nod to Bush's longtime love of the crazy and colorful footwear.
Our country lost an American hero.
In his adopted hometown of Houston, a moment of silence Sunday before the Texans game, and memorials at his statue overlooking the city's skyline and near his home.
It's very sad. He was a great man. We loved him.
The former president's service dog, Sully, still by his side, sleeping next to his flag-draped casket.
You didn't like George H.W. Bush much, did you?
Oh, God. That was 3 days of that shit, man. Oh, I was dry, Richie. And by the way, the service dog, that Georgie, little service dog by his casket, bullshit. He had it for 3 months. That's it. Okay? Ladies and gentlemen.
That's it.
I have never, ever surprised by the capacity of America to delude itself. And I thought to myself, we need somebody to compare Trump to. And then I thought, oh, okay, well, you know, he didn't go around, you know, with hookers.
But George H.W. Bush hated Trump.
George H.W. Bush was a venal weasel. He was a venal shit, a weasel, and the mass murderer. Oh, Phil, don't say that. That's really uncool. No, fuck you. I have a memory. I was in New York during the 80s. I was the actor during the 80s, and I know what George W. Bush did for the HIV epidemic in the nothing. He watched people die. His conduct in South America was just, and it's really, oh my God. First of all, I got to say, I worked for Michael Dukakis when he ran for president, and we have a long memory. And one of the things you really can thank George H.W. Bush for, ladies and gentlemen, is Lee Atwater. Now, Lee Atwater, I did a play loosely based around him. Lee Atwater was the weasel that invented the type of kneecapping, rat-fucking shit conservative politics that Roger Stone is so secure with. He was the one, and George H.W. Bush was the one who let loose the most vile, racist shit against Michael Dukakis. They circulated and criticized Kitty Dukakis, one of the most decent people I've ever met in Massachusetts. She's just great. She had depression, so she had shock treatment. Atwater, you know, circulated popularly a cartoon with Kitty Dukakis's head with jumper cables attached. And then they come out with this ad. It's the Willie Horton ad. And it's the racist ad that helped elect George H.W. Bush. Opposite, by the way, one of the most decent men I have ever seen in politics, Michael Dukakis. Here's the Willie Horton ad. This is from a documentary you really must see. It's available on YouTube, I believe. It's called Boogeyman, The Legend of Lee Atwater. And this is a little cut of Michael Dukakis and people commenting, and a take from the ad that he ran in '88. It was just disgusting. Here it is.
As governor, Michael Dukakis vetoed mandatory sentences for drug dealers. He vetoed the death penalty. His revolving door prison policy gave weekend furloughs to first-degree murderers not eligible for parole. While out, many committed other crimes like kidnapping and rape, and many are still at large. Now Michael Dukakis says he wants to do for America what he's done for Massachusetts. America can't afford that risk.
I was angry. I was very angry because I saw through it right away. I saw the ad where they had these guys coming out of prison, and the black guy was the only one who looked up at the camera. So I said, these are diabolical minds behind this thing.
That's the guy to be afraid of. This was calculated to emphasize the one African American here.
Race is a powder keg. It deserves to be in many ways, and Lee got close to that powder keg and you know, was setting off sparks nearby.
This was a piece of literature that was being distributed in a number of states. All the murderers and rapists and drug pushers and child molesters in Massachusetts vote for Michael Dukakis. I thought it was despicable.
Then they had the rape victim, this woman, go on tour and talk about in explicit details what happened during the rape. She was raped twice.
It was a so-called independent committee ad where they simply used Horton's face.
One was Willie Horton, who murdered a boy in a robbery, stabbing him 19 times. Despite a life sentence, Horton received 10 weekend passes from prison. Horton fled, kidnapped a young couple, stabbing the man and repeatedly raping his girlfriend.
The candidate and the people around him deny any responsibility. Anybody who believes that believes in the tooth fairy.
Yeah, that's some great campaign video, isn't it, Randy?
That's terrible. I mean, we had some. I've seen some really bad stuff, even here in Australia. But that's despicable. That's you know.
That's who George H.W. Bush was. That's who George H.W. He let loose the Kraken. Lee Atwater was the lowest form of dog shit. And you know, before he died, Lee Atwater actually apologized to Kitty Dukakis for the campaign they ran. You know who didn't apologize? Fucking Bush, because Bush was an evil little shit. And also, ladies and gentlemen, I want to go into. Oh no, I'm sorry to interrupt, Randy. Go ahead.
No, I'm not. No, I'm just saying, George H.W. Bush was not what he's being eulogized as.
Not at all. And the thing is, I think that people are doing it to really. I do think that. Well, first, let me give you some of the true things of what George H.W. Bush did. This is from Common Dreams. And it has some opposing points of view that I happen to know and I agree with, because I didn't vote for George H.W. Bush. I hated George H.W. Bush. I thought what he did in South America was just hideous. Honduras, El Salvador. Fuck. As corporate media glosses over the former U.S. president's record over with fawning tributes and sanitized obituaries, it's fair to offer condolences to Bush's family members as they grieve. As a public figure with lots of innocent blood on his hands, his record has to be examined without any whitewashing, said Mehdi Hassan from The Intercept, one of the few people who spoke out during this travesty for the last 3 days. Jeremy Scahill was right on when he said Bush was an unrepentant war criminal. His many victims across the globe rest in peace. I remember feeling, and he goes on, I remember feeling a deep sense of shame and anger when I visited the Amira shelter in Iraq. George H.W. Bush killed more than 400 civilians huddled there on February 13th, 1991. These are the crimes we should be discussing today. George H.W. Bush systematically attacked the civilian infrastructure in Iraq, which he did. And after the Iraq War, George H.W. Bush inflicted the most absolutely heinous sanctions on Iraq that caused literal starvation. He turned hospitals into death rows for infants. Yes, that happened. He widely used depleted uranium. Read an article about it the other day. Evidently, just killing people wasn't enough. We used depleted uranium in our first Gulf War, and depleted uranium causes, get the kids in here, cancer, leukemia.
Yeah, including to our own people.
Causing cancer rates to skyrocket amongst the youngest and the oldest. He made Iraq a mass graveyard, and the killing hasn't stopped since. Glenn Greenwald said, I sadly don't have time to pay homage to George H.W. Bush. So I'll rely on the 1992 statement of the Lawrence Walsh, the special counsel investigating the Iran-Contra crimes, when Bush pardoned his criminal aides and thus ended all investigation of Reagan and Bush and Iran-Contra. What he said was, President Bush's pardon of Caspar Weinberger and other Iran defendants undermines the principle that no man is above the law. You familiar with that? It demonstrates that powerful people with powerful allies can commit serious crimes in high office, deliberately abusing the public trust without consequence. I didn't hear that in his obituary.
No.
How about this one? How about the using of a bogus legal claim of self-defense when George H.W. Bush invaded Panama and killed an estimated 5,000 people so he could arrest one guy, who, by the way, was working for the CIA.
Noriega?
Yeah, Noriega was working for the CIA when Bush was in charge. Killed 5,000 people.
When he was the director of the CIA.
Yeah, he was director of the CIA back then. AIDS deaths were increasing during Bush's presidency. He responded, like George Bush and all the Bushes always have, by reducing research funding, promoting abstinence education, and reducing safer sex education, and banning HIV-positive people from even entering the United States.
Yeah.
George H.W. Bush should be reminded that the Bushes discussing racist and offensive Willie Horton ad that I just played. He started the war in Iraq, in the dirty war in El Salvador, which, by the way, Bush was in charge of. Let's not beat around the bush, so to speak. He went from leader of the CIA, to the right-hand man for Ronald Reagan. Oh, yeah. And then George came around. Janet,
why are these people
let me tell you
clapping
something.
for me,
a couple of million points of light. Everybody's a million points of light. In El Salvador, 6 Jesuit priests, their housekeeper, and her daughter were murdered in 1989 by U.S.-based Salvadoran security forces.
Yeah.
Where did they get their money? George W. Bush gave it to them. Yeah, all those people, Honduras, El Salvador, you know all those people who died? That was Pappy Bush. Yes, sir. Million points of light. Million points of light. In 1990, President George H.W. Bush released Orlando Bosch, the right-wing terrorist and CIA-backed operative from Cuba who was involved in the bomb attack on Cubana Flight 455 in 1976, which killed 73 people. Let's not forget that George H.W. Bush played as CIA director in Operation Condor, the CIA-backed operation by right-wing dictators in South America to target and kill dissidents. Yeah, that was Pappy Bush. Pappy Bush. Oh, my God. It goes on and on, folks. Goes on and on. And I've been regurgitating this shit, having to listen to this shit for 3 days. I'm going to stop for a minute. Randy? Shall I pile up more shit, or is this too nauseating?
Why don't you stop for a minute? Before you lose your dinner.
I will lose my dinner. Hey, listen, what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to actually stop because I've gone on for 36 minutes. But ladies and gentlemen, there was one person who knew the truth about George Herbert Walker Bush, and that person was the immortal Bill Hicks. And I am going to leave this segment in the competent hands of the Dark Lord himself, Bill Hicks. And we'll be back with Randy's rant in just a minute. Right here on the Bill Show. What number are we at?
224.
224. Okay. We'll be back in just a moment. Here's Bill Hicks.
People often ask me where I stand politically. It's not that I disagree with Bush's economic policy or his foreign policy. It's that I believed he was a child of Satan here to destroy the planet Earth. A little to the left. But, see, you know what bugged me about the whole election was that they made it, they totally reduced us to this worship of money, and that's what they made the whole election about was taxes, voting with your wallet. You know what I mean? People would say to me, Bill, you vote for Clinton, he's going to raise your taxes. Okay? I mean, he'll tell you he's not, but he's gonna. A vote for Clinton is a vote for higher taxes, Bill. See, I have news for you, folks. There's other reasons not to vote for George Bush than taxes, okay? I don't know what's happened to us as a world. Maybe 12 years of republicanism has made us think this way. But the reason I didn't vote for George Bush is because George Bush, along with Ronald Reagan, presided over an administration whose policies towards South America included genocide. So, yeah, you see, the reason I didn't vote for him is because he's a mass murderer. I'll pay that extra nickel on a liter of petrol just knowing little brown kids aren't being clubbed to death like baby seals in Honduras so Pepsi can put a plant down there. I'll pay the extra nickel. But he's trying to buy votes, He sells 164 fighter jets to South Korea. He sells 240 tanks to Kuwait. And then he has these speeches where he goes, we still live in a dangerous world. Thanks to you. Fuck, before that, Kuwait had rocks, man. Thank you, Poppy. He authorizes the production of more stealth bombers. The invisible fighter jet, I guess to help us defend ourselves against the invisible countries that threaten us every fucking day. To be named later. Find out Bush has sold weapons to Iraq since '86. Some of your fuckers have been selling weapons to him too. Huh? That's what bugged me about Bush, man. This whole thing about him being the foreign policy expert. You know what I mean? Yeah, well, when it comes to foreign policy, George Bush is the man I trust. He's got the
experience, and look at the coalition against Iraq. Incredible. That huge coalition, that giant coalition that included England. Yeah, that must have been hard. The two predominantly white nations blowing the shit out of this little brown nation. What a hard sell that must have been for John Major, huh? John, George Bush, how are you? Good. We have a disgruntled masses getting really bored here. How about a little fireworks? Well, let's go through the Rolodex. No, Noriega got him. Oh, here's one. Saddam Hussein. That'll look good. Let's go kill some sand niggers. Yeah? Brilliant. We'll be there. Right. We'll be there. Brilliant. Yes, we've already armed them too. It's brilliant. We know exactly what we're up against. It's brilliant. What a huge coalition it was, Oh, France had a couple of planes in there. Yeah. We told them, put a few fucking planes in or Mickey Mouse leaves the country. All right, let's get back in line for the roller coaster. We have done our duty. Selling weapons since '86 to Iraq. And I wondered about that during the Persian Gulf War, those intelligence reports before it all started. Oh, Iraq, they have incredible weapons. How do you know that? Well, we looked at the receipt. But as soon as that check clears, we're going in.
I know, it's crazy. Yeah. All right, listen, I gotta go, but call me later.
No. I'm not calling you.
Not you, sweetie. Okay. All right, you too. Bye.
Are you ready?
Yes, and thank you so much for joining me, Mr. President. I hope you have been enjoying the holiday season so far.
I will tell you, I'm extremely upbeat. The White House is running like a
defenseless young child being tear gassed at the Mexican border.
Well-oiled machine.
Oh, mine was just an expression.
It's doing really well. I have great people.
Speaking of criminals, this is a very big week for the Russia investigation. Memos about Michael Flynn, Michael Cohen, and Paul Manafort, three high-profile defendants, are scheduled to be filed by special counsel Robert Mueller.
It's a scam. There was no collusion whatsoever. And the whole thing is a scam.
Really? Because word on the street is that you're getting pretty scared. Well, when anything bothers me or my entire family is about to be charged with treason, I try to think of nice things. I mean, there are so many things that make you happy.
And there are certain things that I don't like.
Oh, let me think. Raindrops on roses and whiskers on kittens, destroying the First Amendment, white nationalists, big fake tits.
Is that enough?
Brutal dictators and cold-hearted liars, tyrants and traitors and climate deniers, $5 spray tans with under-eye rings. These are a few of your favorite things. Burying tax returns after you file them, tear-gassing migrants for seeking asylum, big fat-ass buckets of fried chicken wings. These are a few of your favorite things.
I did nothing wrong.
Blue-collar workers all backwoods and beefy, giant hamburgers with extra kofifi, siding with Saudi Arabian kings. These are a few of your favorite things. When your friends flip, when your day sucks and your hair looks bad like right now, just blame all the victims and praise all the schmucks, and then you won't feel so sad.
How long has this witch hunt gone on? It's gone on for what?
KGB playdates and absolute power, porn stars and playmates who charge by the hour, puppets at Fox News who dance on his strings. These are a few of his favorite things.
I did nothing wrong.
Long-winded tweets with no spell check corrections, raking up forests and stealing elections, facts that he fakes and fake bone spurs and slings. These are a few of his favorite favorite things.
There was no collusion whatsoever.
Firing staff who won't come to his defense. Signatures on non-disclosure agreements. Lock her up! Chants like his bass always sings. These are a few of his favorite things. When the Dems fight, when your friends lie, and when Mueller's close. Just take a cold shower and have a good cry, and then you won't feel so gross.
The news about me is largely phony.
Judges who fly into partisan rages, solar eclipses and children in cages, hookers who pee on your face till it stings. These are a few of his favorite things.
Fake news.
Red MAGA hats that you had made in Taiwan, smelling that new wife smell after you buy one. Lawyers who hide extramarital flings. These are a few of his favorite things.
I think I'm doing a great job.
People who cheer at your anger and meanness, dreams about having a normal-sized penis, Hannity's voice on your phone when it rings. These are a few of your favorite things. When your life sucks, or for God's sake, when you're about to snap. Take comfort in knowing at least you still make the rest of us feel like crap.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, it's time for Crazy Uncle Randy. Yay!
What was with the Tennessee accent?
Well, you don't want me doing
Uncle Butkus, you're terrible. Anyway, that was the brilliant Randy Rainbow, my namesake.
Oh God.
With Donald Trump's favorite things, the new wife with a new wife smell when you buy one. You laughed at that.
Oh, out loud. Out loud.
Yeah.
The new wife smell.
Anyway, he's terrific, isn't he? Yeah. And I unfortunately still have to be introduced by the Dick Van Dyke Show music.
I gotta find.
I'm sitting.
opening.
I can't
it.
dance. We have to make me a new one because I can't dance and twerk. I can't twerk. I can't twerk to Dick Van Dyke.
I know you can't, but you can trip over that lounge suite really well. Unless you're in season 2 and 3 where he avoids it, where he goes, yeah, I'm not going to trip. Okay, go ahead, man. What do you got for us?
I'm ranting about our favorite subject, and that's the cost of health care.
Yeah.
Now, in America, the United States of America, they have this myth that they cannot afford health care for all. But study after study has shown that you won't have to pay for something that's actually cheaper than what you're paying now.
That's right.
It's health care, single-payer health, I need new teeth. Single-payer health care will be cheaper, more efficient, and more fair than anything that exists now. And the U.S. is the only country that follows this. And why is that? Because the Congress and the Senate, their balls are being squeezed by the pharmaceutical companies, the doctors, and the hospitals. It's corruption. Now, do you realize, a new study has shown, and this only came out on the 1st of December, a new study has shown that Medicare for All would actually save America about $1 trillion a year.
Yeah.
$1 trillion a year cheaper to have single-payer Medicare for all.
Yep.
Now, this isn't fake news.
No.
This is just a fact. Okay? Now, a growing number of Americans are supporting this, and I think that when you get somebody like Bernie Sanders or whoever riding the wave of healthcare reform, this is going to be proven.
Well,
now,
it was the issue in the last election, and it will continue to be one of the major issues.
Yeah.
People are dying.
But Trump they're just dying, and they're not paying, and they're 28% of Americans pay more for health, and they don't actually get any benefit from it.
No, and
have a play.
But we've been on this about for a long time because you and I get health care.
Well, because we live in social medicine.
That's right.
But here's a really great analysis.
Terrible Marxist state that we live in.
Yeah, This is John Green from the Vlog Brothers.
Yeah.
They're really brilliant online commentators. And he just did this really wonderful one about why is American healthcare more expensive than anywhere in the world. So play clip number 1.
Got it. Clip number 1 on Randy's Rant for 224. Here it is.
Good morning, Hank. It's Tuesday. I want to talk today about why healthcare costs in the United States are so phenomenally, fascinatingly expensive. But first, I have to blow your mind. All right, so you've probably heard that the reason people enjoy quote-unquote free healthcare in Australia and the UK and Canada, etc., is that they pay higher taxes. That money then goes into a big pot and is used to pay for people's healthcare. But in fact, in the United States, we spend more tax money per capita on healthcare than Germany, Australia, the United Kingdom, or Canada. That's right, Hank. You pay more in taxes for healthcare than you would if you were British, and in exchange for those taxes, you get no healthcare. In fact, only about 28% of Americans get their health insurance through government-funded programs, mostly poor people, old people, and congresspeople. But as you can see in this graph, our private healthcare spending, most Americans are privately insured through their employers, is way higher than anywhere else in the world. In total, the U.S. currently spends about 18% of its gross domestic product on healthcare costs. Australia, by comparison, 9%. Why is this? Well, because everything costs more, which seems obvious, but apparently it isn't, because every article you read is like, oh, it's because of malpractice insurance, or it's because we're obese, or we go to the doctor too much, or people are prescribed too many medications. Well, not really. It's because everything costs more. A hip replacement in Belgium costs $13,000. In the US, it's often over $100,000. Colonoscopies average over $1,100 a piece in the US. In Switzerland, they're $655. And on average, a month of the drug Lipitor will cost you $124 if you live in the United States. If you live in New Zealand, $7.
Wow.
So the point is that you will not pay more for single-payer health care. I'll repeat, you will not pay more for single-payer health care in the United States.
Yeah.
You will pay less. I mean, right now, my brother, in his work thing, if he wasn't covered by his work, he would have to pay over $1,000 a month.
Christ.
A month for health care cover. Here, of course, we only pay 1.5% of our taxable income as a levy for national health. But even so, if we had private health insurance, it would only be $2,000 a year.
I know.
For private cover.
I know.
So, I mean, Americans are getting absolutely ripped
This is the thing. They always look at the lefties like us and Bernie Sanders, for one, as being some crazy
the
socialist
liberals,
nutcase. No. We're the ones being honest with you. You're getting fucked. You're getting fucked. It's all these
and paying for
but you have still enough money to go to fucking Iraq for the oil companies. You still have enough money for all that shit. All that Poppy Bush's war and little baby Bush's war, and war criminals, both of them. You had enough money to go over there, but you haven't got enough money to do what is probably the most logical thing to do.
Well, like I said last week, they pay for the healthcare program of Israel, who has national health, and if they paid that to Americans, it would make a big dent in their healthcare. So there you go again. $1 trillion a year would be saved if America went on to national health.
Yeah.
That's it. $1 trillion. That's $1,000 billion.
Absolutely.
That's a lot of dosh.
I know. It's unforgivable, and because we live in the kind of parallel universe where both the right and the left know that the centralized health care that you have in this country is more economical. If you're a conservative, there's no reason that a conservative would be against the cheapest option unless they were lying to you or corrupt. I'm sorry.
And
that's it.
They do get money from Big
That's
Pharma,
it.
yeah, but not like America.
No. Do you think we have drug ads every 2 seconds on Australian television? No.
No.
There's no boner pill ads. Okay.
Yeah. We get and 5 minutes of special conditions or
I know.
whatever they call it.
I know.
All of our medications here are like New Zealand.
Yeah.
I don't know, $10 for a month. You know.
Yeah. You know, I
And if
feel
you're an
guilty.
older
I
person-
actually walk around and I feel guilty because I know what my sister is paying. I know what my best friend Dave is going through. We mentioned him on the last show. It's a $1,000 copay if he gets turned away at the fucking emergency ward. I know what.
That's crazy.
You know, these people. You have a system that victimizes the weakest in your community. You continue with it because the politicians that are both in the Democratic and the Republican Party that have voted against, Medicare for all are corrupt.
Yeah.
That's it.
Now this is an important deadline. It's 1 week away. I'm sorry, we're running late with this announcement. Play the next track because this is going to hopefully get a lot of our listeners to go and register for Obamacare before
December 15th,
the deadline,
isn't it?
December 15th.
December 15th.
So,
and today is what?
Yeah, the 8th.
Because the 8th, guys, and by the way, no one, and professional left did this too, no one is ever going to tell you to register for Obamacare. No one's going to do it. The government isn't going to do it. Trump doesn't want you to. If Obamacare, you need to register by December 15th, guys. You need to do this, all right?
So play the clip.
Okay, here it is.
Here's how you can really piss off Donald Trump. And I don't mean sharing this photo he hates. Why would you share that? It's so unflattering. What you can really do is spread the word about something he's trying to keep secret. You have until December 15th to sign up for Obamacare. He doesn't want you to know.
Obamacare is finished. It's dead. It's gone. It's no longer, you shouldn't even mention it.
I'm mentioning it. Between now and December 15th, you can piss him off by getting quality, affordable insurance at healthcare.gov. He's doing everything he can to stop you. He's slashed the advertising budget by 90%. He's cut the enrollment period in half, eliminated outreach. But if you sign up by December 15th, you'll lock in coverage no matter what they do to the healthcare law. Now, the bad news is it's going to be more expensive this year. That's not an accident. The president has taken steps to intentionally drive up premiums thanks Trump Care. But even though Trump raised the premiums, it's still probably cheaper than you think. And a lot of people qualify for financial help and don't even realize it. 80% of people in healthcare.gov states can get a plan for under $75 a month. There are even people to help you sign up. Here's how you reach them. I'll wait while you write that down. And if you already have insurance, that's awesome. I know you have friends who don't. Get them to sign up. Getting people to sign up for healthcare is good for them and happens to be the single most effective thing you can do to protest this administration between now and December 15th. So get care yourself, talk to your friends, and share this video. It'll do way more good than simply sharing this ugly photo. Don't share that photo. That's just mean.
Yeah, that's healthcare.gov.
And piss off Donald Trump.
Piss off Donald Trump.
Registering.
Yeah, because it's unforgivable, guys. But you have people who don't care whether you live or die. It's just that much.
And they because there's no money in a cure. And I also read another article saying that funeral directors are really angry because fewer old people are dying because of the flu vaccine.
Yeah.
So they're having a hard time. So please die.
Yeah, that's right.
Isn't that terrible to actually publish something like that?
What's that?
Isn't that awful to publish something like that?
I know.
We're having it rough because fewer old people are dying because we're keeping them healthy?
Yeah, that's got to be rough, isn't it?
Well, that's that's just
you know
disgusting.
What I'm thinking that, there's this thing that I know will work. It's called Soylent Green.
Yeah.
And
let's eat them all, yeah. I must get Edward G. Robinson's last scene where he he with Charlton Heston.
What was the last thing? Is strawberry jam?
What's on this spoon? And he tastes it, and it's the look on his face. What an amazing actor.
Yeah. Soylent Green, by the way. That's what they want. That's what they want.
They want you to eat each other. Yeah. Okay. Anyway, I've got not a religious nut job. I've actually got a religious sane job. Now, in Australia, we have rampant Islamophobia.
Right on.
We have people that so want to stop immigration because they come in waves. The Greeks, the Italians, the Dutch, the Germans, the Vietnamese. And lately we've had mainly people from places that we've bombed. Afghanistan, Iraq, Lebanon, etc. And then there are people who are getting pissed off. They are protesting against immigration from anybody who's a Muslim.
Right.
Now, Islamophobia, I think, is really insidious. Now, here is a discussion about the fact that not only is it the world's largest religious movement, it is actually, like our nearest neighbor, 400 million people, the vast majority are Muslim. And they're not all got knives drawn waiting to lop off our noggins.
No.
They're mainly just like any other Joe. So I want you to play this clip about how the fact that we hear about the worldwide caliphate, but it already exists, and it's benign. It's benign.
Okay.
And I feel strongly about this, so please play this little clip.
Ladies and gentlemen, the wise, not the religious sane job of the week, talking about Islamophobia here on the Bill Show. Take it away.
What do you imagine when you think of a worldwide Islamic caliphate? What do you think their goals would be? And would that advance humanity or send humanity backwards? Now pause. What if I told you a worldwide caliphate already exists, with tens of millions of Muslims in over 200 nations pledging allegiance to that caliph? And what if I told you it was far from everything you've been told about the Islamic Caliphate? His Holiness, the Khalifa of Islam, Mirza Masroor Ahmad, is the worldwide head of the Ahmadiyya Muslim community. And he exemplifies Islam in word and in deed. But don't just take my word for it. The Khalifa is dedicated to serving all humanity. And he does so around the world, in North America, in Australia, in Asia, in Africa, and in South America. And how does he do this? By building hundreds of secular schools for children of all faiths and backgrounds, by condemning categorically all forms of abuse against women, and by championing universal religious freedom for all people of all faiths and for all people of no faith, because that is what Islam teaches. See, we have this amazing positive narrative of what the true Islamic Caliphate actually is. A narrative that all too often goes ignored, but a narrative that people demand to hear and have a right to know. So if this is the first time you're hearing about the Khalifa of Islam, Mirza Masroor Ahmad, then share this with your circles, because we need to advance this positive narrative. We need to advance this mission for peace. And when we unite for peace, that is when humanity moves forward.
I don't know why you keep counting down with this funky Southern accent. It's really strange. I feel like you're doing a lead into dueling banjos. Anyway, of course they can't hear it. Okay. Anyway, I felt that was really strong because what he's talking about is basically the Islamic version of the Pope.
Yeah.
Okay. Now we hear about Pope Francis, who I think, as apart from having to deliver the Catholic line, is actually not a bad bloke. Mm-hmm. And I think we hear about that all the time, but we don't hear about the head of the Islamic nation, the caliphate. We don't hear about the leaders of the Jewish communities.
Yeah.
I mean, there are lots of religious leaders out there, but we tend not to hear about them. Now, of course, all three Abrahamic religions, Islam, Judaism, and Christianity, they're all based on the same books and things like that. They all have a lot of the same people in it and same cautionary tales. Why they hate each other, I could never work it out.
Oh, I think religion is a creation of man. And religion
of course,
has been,
organized
used,
religion is.
Yeah, but religion has been used since since it was invented.
Well, since the medicine man came out of the cave.
You know,
and said,
I'm not a
"You do
religious
this,"
person, but I can tell you that I have Muslim friends. I have many
and
Muslim
so do
friends.
I, and a lot of students, and we've discussed it.
Absolutely. And you just get fed up with this way in which the hatred of an entire religion is being sold. And it is being sold. Because it's another example of, look at the bad people over there. Now, I'm not saying that I don't find...
Our prime minister is a Pentecostal Christian.
Yeah, I know.
And his whole religion is sort of like against anything that's not part of his catechism, you know?
Yeah, but I mean, it's like, last week we were talking about the Saudis, And by the way, Christianity has its loopy sects too. And the thing is that, my thing with Islam and certain sects of it is that they're depraved. I have a problem with that.
Sure they are.
As with right-wing fundamentalists who believe that having more nukes is a really good way to do what Christ said, or tear gassing immigrants.
Or that Donald Trump is actually the second coming of Christ.
They're depraved. They could all meet together and have a marvelous time because they're both depraved. And a religion can bring out the best in people or the worst in people. But
thankfully, a lot of people are it's the best comes out. But organized religion, I mean, we even played a thing here where the Catholic priest said, "Look, of course, heaven and hell were constructs of early Catholicism to control the people."
Yes, that's true.
And that's still going on.
Now, do I believe? Does religion have anything to do with the fact that I do believe that that there are more things in heaven and earth that were thought of in your philosophy? Yes, I do. And I do believe that those people who say, well, you're just dead, you're dead. No, what? I don't believe that. Can I prove it? I don't know. No, I can't.
No.
And I freely
admit that. It's nice to have something positive to think about,
Well, it's not only that. It's also the fact that if that's true, we're all destined to go there. But do I believe...
Nobody gets out of here alive.
Do I believe that I have the right to dictate upon other people what they should believe? I've never been that arrogant. And I think that's the one thing about...
A lot of people
That's
are.
the one thing, it's the presumption that I find disgusting. It's the presumption and the way that religion in America specifically...
There are 3,000 religions and gods in the world. If you go through all the various Indian ones.
We have 3,000?
And 3,000 gods.
All right.
And how can you believe that yours is the best one?
Oh, I believe that L. Ron Hubbard made up a religion and it's still tax deductible.
Oh, yeah.
Seriously.
Saint Thomas Cruise.
As Woody Allen said, I refuse to belong to a religion that advertises in popular mechanics. Listen, Guy, I thank you very much for sharing.
I think we're finished.
I think we are.
Finished.
Listen, I did want to say one thing. First of all, if you're listening to us for the first time over on TuneIn Radio, hey, good to see you. Thanks for dropping in.
You can't see them. It's a podcast, you jerk.
It's a podcast, but it's,
you can't see them.
I can see. I like looking out as if there's another person in the room, guys, and these guys are our friends.
I'm not even in the same room as you. I'm.
Thanks for ruining the illusion of radio.
Oh, for goodness sake.
Yeah, no, it's all crap. No, but thank you guys. If you're out there listening to us, either on your iPod or anything like that, please leave a review for us.
Thanks to
hey, let me do this.
Dirty Dress and Glass Window.
Yeah.
What's
Hold
her
on
name?
for a minute. I got to finish this. Guys, listen, if you're at iTunes or TuneIn Radio or any of these places, leave a review, please. Preferably a good one would be nice. We could use one. You can go to the Bill Show.
But even if it's not.
Yeah. Well, okay. But if this is you go to the Bill Show.
If you don't like us, don't say so.
Yeah, they'll like us on Facebook. TheBillShow.net. Everything Bill Show on place, folks. I went over to the website, and believe me, I know I have to do some work on the website, guys. But we got a lovely note from Andrew. Andrew, thank you, Andrew.
Not Andrew.
Andrew in the United States.
Is he writing again?
No, seriously, I'm reading it off the screen right now. Thanks. Okay, love your show. Haven't missed an episode in 2 years. Thank you for what you do, what you and Randy do.
Oh, get a life, Andrew.
Thanks for hey, Randy's probably our one fan in Oklahoma.
No, we've got we've got Val.
We'd do a lot better if you didn't insult the nice people who listen to us. Thanks for a great show.
Val of Glen Falls.
Hey, would you shut up for a minute? I'm talking about Andrew.
Her husband's name is Randy.
Andrew, pay no attention to him. Thanks. When you said thanks for a great show and keep up the fight, I really do thank you very much. Thank you.
Actually, I find it hard to accept praise.
I know.
It's just part of my
deal with it. We don't get much of it.
My Asperger's, my Asperger's, which is named after me. By
Asperger's?
The way.
Are you Asperger's? I never would have picked that up.
Yeah, it's actually somebody's name. Yeah. Everybody always says you're an Asperger, and yeah.
You're also a very intelligent fella and delightful to spend time
yes,
with.
Thank you.
Yeah, I like you. It's been a long time. We've been kicking around.
Are we going to say goodbye to these delicious folks?
Well, don't you have something to leave us on? Your
a lovely
aspy,
Christmas song.
Your aspiness. What are you going to leave us with?
We'll probably have another show before Christmas.
Okay.
But here's a Christmas carol from this wonderful, fabulous Aida is this group of three women.
Okay. Is it
you will like this?
It's called the. Who are these people? What are they? The Three Aidas or something like that.
Fascinating. Just a moment. I'll just tell you.
Yeah, no, I want to know who these people are.
Yeah, well, they are a group of. It's called Fascinating Aida.
Fascinating Aida.
They're actually three singers.
Right.
Dilly, Adele, and Liza. They're British.
Oh, I like
and they sing this beautiful song. Language warning, but it's still a Christmas song. So
it's a dirty Christmas song from the good people.
No, it's not.
And what's that? What are they? They're fantastic Aida.
Fascinating Aida.
Fascinating Aida, taking us out. Guys, take care of yourself. Thank you. Be good to one another. Be good to yourself. And be kind to your parents. They've been good to you.
And we'll see you on the next show. No, we won't see you, but we will talk to you at the next show.
Thank you very much. See you guys. So long. Bye-bye.
Bye. Bye.
Christmas comes but once a year, and when it comes it brings good cheer, a season of goodwill and fun. And yet while most of us feel festive, Grinches out there just get restive and spoil it all for everyone. Though it's too much to expect you to be nice, you'll find that life is easier with this advice. Try not to be a cunt, it's Christmas. Take a tip from Santa's elf. The rest of us are doing our best to be jolly, so don't go looking like we swallowed a bunch of holly. Don't shout at carol singers and tell them to stop. Don't buy your presents from the Oxfam shop. For fuck's sake, be merry, have another sherry, and try not to be a cunt, 'cause Santa's coming. Try not to tragedy cunt.